You make my world a better place.
Yes.
Can we get you walking again soon?
That's good. I can depend on you.
Hey, mate.
Tim Faulkner is responding to an unusual emergency.
I've been called to the marina because a fisherman friend of mine has found a turtle floating in the middle of the ocean. As soon as I hear that, I know something's wrong. The turtle needs help.
Here's our little fella here.
The skipper hands over the turtle, and I'm shocked. It's a hawksbill. They're critically endangered. And this guy's in bad shape. He's got lacerations, barnacles all over him. He's on death's door.
Can you lift that towel back? Yep. Yeah, tuck it over him. We've still got a bit of kick.
The only thing on my mind now is getting this turtle down to Chris at the Bondi Vet Clinic. He'll know what to do.
All right, mate, I'm going to get him up home.
No worries.
Good on you.
Good luck. Hope it goes well.
Thank you.
I just hope that the turtle can hold on that long.
Be okay, little girl.
I know.
At the Bondi Referral Hospital SASH, concerned owner Sean has brought in 5-year-old Frankie.
In the last couple of days, we've noticed that she's presenting with basically a loss of the ability to walk and maintain her balance. It's a bit painful to watch, so we thought we'd bring her and get her fixed up.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. How are you? I'm Sean.
Sean, this must be Frankie.
It is.
Hi, sweetheart. Hey, what's going on with her?
She seems to have had a bit of a relapse with some spinal issues.
Okay.
A lot more severe than the first case we've had with her previously.
Okay, so when did it start this time?
Really severely, probably in about 2 or 3 days ago.
Okay. Well, why don't you pop her down on the ground so I can have a look at her
Sure.
walking around.
No, right there we go.
Come here. This way. Oh, she's very wobbly.
Yeah. She's never been that bad before. Come here, Frank.
It's worrying how Frankie is stumbling and falling over so often. It's almost as if the nerves from her back legs are not communicating properly with her spine.
Good girl.
That's a girl. She feels her toes very well, which is a good sign. But she's certainly falling all over the place and something's not working. Now, the most likely thing that she's got is a slip disc because she's of the breed that gets those sorts of things, but I can't rule out something else, something more sinister.
Yeah, okay.
Frankie will need an immediate CT scan so Lisa can work out which part of the spine is affected.
You're going to give Dad a little cuddle?
Too stressed to give me a cuddle. You'll be okay, little girl. You'll be okay.
Because Frankie's signs have progressed so rapidly already, my concern is that she's going to deteriorate. If we don't treat her and act quickly, this dog may never walk again.
Timmy.
G'day.
Full surprises, aren't you, mate?
Hey.
Come straight through.
She is.
Tim has arrived at the Bondi Clinic with a critically ill hawksbill turtle he's named Fluky.
Right, let's get it up here.
I know a sick animal when I see one, and this little turtle is in real strife. I really hope that Chris can do something and give her a chance at recovering.
So from what you know, she was found floating.
Correct.
Where?
40 kilometres offshore from Terrigal, just a little bit south, so basically straight east of Sydney.
Wow. And she is, what, at least 1,000 kilometres further south of the absolute limit of where she should be.
At least she's stuck on an ocean current, I guess, and too weak to fight it.
Tim's done absolutely the right thing in bringing Fluky in. I mean, straight away you can see she's in bad shape. But when you hear that she was found floating, well, that is a serious cause for concern. Those barnacles and this build-up of algae says that she's been floating for quite a while.
Yep.
And these guys feed off the bottom, usually grabbing the sea sponges and sea grasses and algae. So, I mean, she would not have eaten for at least a month.
But malnutrition isn't this little battler's only problem.
He's ballooning out of her skin here, which is quite strange. That's not something you normally see. So whether she's underweight and the skin's then become loose and doubled up around her neck, that's possible. Or there could be something else going on internally. You know, we've got what looks like an abscess here as well.
Yeah.
And that's just underneath that nasty cut on the flipper. I think a lot of what we're seeing with her is the result of her bobbing around in the ocean for a long time and not being able to go down into the water, and she's been exposed to the wind, she's been exposed to the sun more than she normally would be.
Everything's just taken its toll.
Yeah.
It's just amazing that Fluke is still alive. She's obviously got a strong spirit. She's a fighter. I just hope she can hold on and go a little bit further.
And she's got a big battle on her hands here. The tragedy would be if she's come this far and then we lose her now.
Hey, Frankie. Come on, darling. Good girl. All right, this is Frankie.
Hello, Frankie.
At SASH, dachshund Frankie is about to undergo a CT scan. Lisa has called on the expertise of specialist surgeon Sue Kwan.
She's had spinal problems in the past and she's wobbly, she falls over.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll do a scan.
Perfect.
Because Frankie's deteriorating rapidly, we have to do a CT scan right away. Firstly, to work out exactly where the problem is and make sure that it's nothing more sinister like a tumour.
Yep,
There we
there
go.
it is. And that's a pretty simple diagnosis, isn't it?
Looking at Frankie's CT, it's pretty obvious that she's got a slipped disc. It's squashing about 60 to 70% of her spinal cord, and I can't believe that this dog can still walk.
That's significant. If we don't treat that quickly, she could be permanently paralysed.
Frankie's devoted owner Sean has already given the go-ahead for immediate surgery.
She's a massive part of our lives, so as soon as something was wrong with her, we didn't really hesitate. It was just get something done to help her.
Let's go. Hey, let's get you fixed up.
Charlie, I'm just reading him a story.
I think Charlie's very pleased that you're here, Harry.
Louise and little Harry have arrived at SASH with 9-month-old Charlie. The chocolate Labrador is having trouble with his front legs.
So we threw a ball at the park and he chased after it and he took a bit of a tumble, so he just picked it up really awkwardly, and then when he got back up again he was walking off, but he was limping quite heavily.
He loves licking people's hands. I don't mind that anyway.
Harry is heartbroken to think his best mate is in pain.
It means that he can't run at the park now. That means I can't even get any exercise. I can only get exercise walking, not running.
Hello, Louise.
Hello.
I'm Stephen. How are you?
Stephen,
Nice to meet you. Hello, Harry. You good? Is this your dog?
Yeah.
What's wrong with him? He's got a sore elbow, has he? Well, we better have a look into that. What do you reckon? Do you want to come and help me? I'm going to need some help. Come on, then.
Come on, Charlie.
2 sore elbows. Doubly as bad.
I never thought this would happen. You know, he's a puppy, you know, he behaves like a puppy, he chases after dogs, he runs after Harry. And now he's stuck walking the streets on a lead and can't go to the park anymore, and it's pretty sad, actually.
Come on here, Charles. Let's have a look at your legs. And this is his relatively good leg, supposedly. Shoulder seems pretty good. Let's have a look at your bad side, buddy. All right, we're going to look at the bad one now. Yeah, so he doesn't like that. So I think Charlie's probably more sore than he's letting on. He's probably got a little crack in the bone on the inside of his elbow joint. And what that's causing, every time he walks on it, that little crack is moving a little bit and causing him pain. And ultimately, it damages the surface of the joint, the cartilage gets damaged, and he ends up with arthritis.
Charlie will need an immediate CT scan.
I just thought it was the sprain, maybe be on some anti-inflammatories and that would be that. Like, I never realised young dogs could get arthritis at 9 months of age. I thought that was always something that happened in, you know, older animals. So, yeah, it's a real shame.
This is about as bad as it gets for a turtle.
She's not looking good, is she?
She's not.
Hawksbill turtle Fluky is a long way from home and in serious trouble.
It's remarkable that she was found.
Yep.
It's even more remarkable she's still alive considering what she's been up against.
The critically ill turtle was rushed to the Bondi Clinic by Tim Faulkner after being found floating out at sea.
We're getting a pretty clear picture of the outside of her. You know, we've got a nasty gash on this flipper here. We've got a little abscess underneath. We've got a lot of sunburn. And we've got just a collection of barnacles and algae on the surface. So there's no doubt the outside of it really worries me. It's what's inside, though, that's caused all this. So I think the next step is to actually put a needle into her body cavity, her coelom, and just see if we can find either air or some sort of fluid. And if that fluid's passed, then we know there's an infection that's in her body. There's just a little there.
Doesn't look pretty.
No, it doesn't. It does look like we've got some sort of infection in her body cavity. Right now, all signs are pointing to the fact that Fluky may be suffering from something called floater syndrome. It's quite mysterious, and what we usually find is gas building up underneath the shell, usually in the gut. Quite often it's caused by an infection, but to really diagnose it, I need to do an X-ray. And to do that, I need to get creative. This might look a little bit strange, but really it's the only way of getting the shot that we need. And most importantly of all, it doesn't hurt Fluky whatsoever.
Happy?
X-ray.
What do you got?
Wow. See that?
I see a big black area.
So normally in a turtle, their lungs are about there. So just a small space like that. Here, over half, or probably 3/4 of that body cavity is air.
Air.
So she's a floater. She's got floater syndrome.
Yeah.
The fact that we're pulling pus out of that body cavity says that she has an infection in there. That could have been the initial cause. That is the X-ray of a really, really sick turtle.
Yeah.
What Fluky really needs right now is an antibiotic injection. That way she can start fighting this infection straight away. Even though she's a turtle, she's no different to any other animal. They get dehydrated when they're sick. So I need to give her some fluids. But what we'll do is give her about 15 or 20 mils now. To just start to rehydrate her. That nasty gash on Fluky's flipper is certainly hard to ignore, and really the best thing I can do right now is clean it up and get rid of any bacteria that are present.
Stings a bit.
Yeah. All right. Look, mate, I'm pretty happy that we've now stabilised her. So what she really needs now is to recover. So I'm thinking we take her over to Manly. And I know just the place for her.
You know, you do?
Yeah.
Good. I might say goodbye to both of you at this point, and good luck.
The reality is that Fluky's battles are only just beginning. She's still incredibly vulnerable, and my hope is that what I've done today proves to be enough.
Good boy. Oh, sweetie, sit down. Good boy.
At SASH, 9-month-old Labrador Charlie needs an urgent CT scan on his legs.
Charlie's problem in his elbow joint is going to limit his ability to be a normal, happy pup because they love to run around the park, they love to chase the kids, chase the ball. So poor old Charlie unfortunately can't do that at the moment because his elbow hurts too much. So our job is to try and fix that.
It's feared the puppy is suffering from a form of elbow dysplasia.
Over time, Charlie's going to get arthritis, and unfortunately, arthritis is a very debilitating condition in dogs like it is in people. So we want to try and treat that now so that we can help prevent the progression of arthritis in this joint. Now that looks good, girls. Perfectly positioned. It's great. So what we're looking at in Charlie's elbow is to see if there's any small little bits of bone or cartilage that haven't developed properly. Oh, yeah. All right. This little fragment here off the end of the bone is a little fracture that he's got in his elbow joint, and that's his good elbow, that's his left elbow. And his bad elbow has got an even bigger fragment. little piece of bone has fractured away there, so it's like a little loose pebble that's going to hurt as he walks on it. So he's got it on both sides, unfortunately. I think Charlie's probably been tolerating this pretty well, actually. I'm surprised that he hasn't been showing more signs. So the next step is to do an operation with an arthroscope, which is a very small camera that we put inside the joint to have a look at the damaged structures in the joint, and then we put some little forceps in there to remove those loose pieces of bone and try and relieve some of the discomfort that he's got. Poor old Charlie.
Oh, wow. You're all prepared.
All prepared.
Amazing. So this is the new home.
Chris has found the ideal place for Flukey's much-needed rehabilitation.
Good luck, little girl. You're going to feel better pretty soon.
The hawksbill turtle is suffering from floater syndrome and is about to begin the long road to recovery at the Manly Sea Life Sanctuary.
Flukey's doing it pretty hard at the moment. She has an uphill battle. The next couple of days will be critical for her. So what we hope is that Flukey will start showing us a few positive signs to show that she's on the way to recovery. So we'll do our best and whatever we can to help her out.
So that's fresh water at the moment, isn't it?
Yes. Freshwater is one of the first things we do when we do have rescue turtles. It does take care of all that barnacle growth on her shell and on her flippers and on her head. So hopefully they will fall off, and that's in addition to rehydrating her as well.
It seems strange to put Flukey into a tank that has such a low level of water. The fact is, when she's weak like this, having her in deep water means she could actually drown. By having that little island in the middle means she can actually dock herself on there and rest up. And rest is what she needs. It's actually really encouraging to see her move around like that.
Good sign she's able to raise her head and take a breath by herself. So we'll see how Flukey goes, but we'll give her the best care possible and hopefully she makes a full recovery and time will tell.
The fact is, right now, Flukey's health is balanced on a knife edge. She's got some weight to put back on. She's obviously got to get rid of that air that's inside her body cavity. But really, it's about her building up her strength and her immune system. If she can do that, we're a much better chance of getting that recovery we need here.
You good to go, girls? So both elbows, please.
At SASH, Labrador puppy Charlie is about to undergo incredibly delicate surgery on both his elbows.
So the condition that he's got is called elbow dysplasia, and the particular thing he's got is called fragmented chiral process, which is where a small piece of bone inside the elbow joint breaks away.
It's hoped the surgery will help slow down the onset of arthritis.
So what we're going to do with Charlie today is a procedure called an arthroscopy, which is where we put a high-resolution camera attached to a scope into his joint. The scope is tiny, it's about 1.4 millimetres in diameter, so it allows us to get into his joint without making a big hole, and it allows us to magnify the surface of his joints. We can look at it in a great deal more detail than we could if we actually opened the whole joint up. So this is his good elbow, relatively good elbow. We'll have a look inside here. So I'll just put a needle into the back of his joint first. Make a little incision. Slide our camera into his joint. Righto, and have a look around, see what we can see. In the joint, there he is, hello. We get the point of the needle and we just lift this up. Whoa, look at that. There you go, that's the broken piece of bone that we're just lifting up there now. And so that's the fracture. Can you imagine trying to walk around on that? That's gonna hurt. Poor old Charlie.
Steve now has the difficult task of extracting the loose bone fragment.
There's my grasping forceps that I'm going to use to grab this thing. I haven't got a lot of room to move in here. This is a pretty tight joint. Come on, baby, come on, baby. There you go. So that's it. There we go, that's most of it there. And that joint looks a lot clearer now. So what we do now is we just scrape back the edges a little bit to make them healthy. And that allows new cartilage to seal over the damaged area. All right, good. The closure's pretty easy, it's 2 stitches, that's it. All right, so elbow one is done. So let's get on to the second side, which is his worst side. So it'll be interesting to see how this compares to that first one.
Hey, Frankie. Things are happening now. We're going to get you into theatre, get this all sorted out.
At SASH, little dachshund Frankie has a severe slipped disc and needs urgent spinal surgery.
Unfortunately, Frankie is prone to an early degeneration of her discs. The material of the disc becomes thick and calcified, and in this case has popped out of its capsule and is now slipped and squashing her spinal cord. We're going to try and remove that disc material and try and relieve the pressure on her spinal cord. Now, it's not a straightforward surgery, but it is Frankie's only chance at being able to walk normally again.
Specialist surgeon Sue Kwan is performing the delicate procedure.
All right, incision.
It's always a little nerve-wracking watching a spinal surgery from outside because I know how small the area is that they're working in, and one wrong move could be catastrophic.
Just dissecting the muscle of the vertebra. There we go. There's the view. So, 13, 12, 11. Count 3 times, cut once. Do not want to cut at the wrong spot. 1.
It's just piece by piece.
Sue has to be really careful here because if she drills too far, she could drill right into the spinal cord, permanently paralysing Frankie.
Oh, look at that. Got whole chunks of this material.
Now to the delicate task of carefully scooping out the disc material that's squashing Frankie's spinal cord and causing her so much distress.
All right, that's pretty good. Sitting better now. There's no way this dog could not feel better after this. So it's gone really well, all things considered. We removed a large amount of this material. Spinal cord appears decompressed. There's nothing pressing up against it. There's no major hemorrhage. So we're going to close up, and then it's 6 weeks of cage rest and hope for the best.
After spinal surgery, there's a lot of inflammation, and animals can actually get worse before we see any sign of improvement. She's going to be in a lot of pain, but thankfully we've given her an epidural and some pretty strong pain relief, and I just hope that when she wakes up, we're going to see some progress.
Good, Frankie. Good girl.
Alrighty, Charlie, let's get this joint sorted out for you.
Also at SASH, Dr. Steve Fernside is halfway through surgery on 9-month-old Labrador Charlie.
Oh, straight away, you can see that's where the bone has been actually damaged. You can see again that crack through the cartilage and bone in his joint. So no wonder this joint is sore. So I'm just gently lifting that up, and that should be all solid. Shouldn't be able to get my probe in there at all. The concern that I have for Charlie is that, you know, both his elbows have got problems in them, and this is going to lead to arthritis. Now, we're going to help by removing these painful loose fragments in his joint, but we're not going to cure his disease, unfortunately. That's a big chunk of bone. So I can grab it there. The trouble is, he's just pretty jammed in there.
Retrieving the piece of bone is an incredibly delicate process.
When you're trying to get a 6 or 7 millimetre fragment out of a 3 or 4 millimetre hole, then the maths just doesn't add up. So we're going to have to probably get this guy out in a few little pieces, I think. There we go. There's a bit for you.
Bit by bit, Steve is slowly removing the offending chunk of bone.
Gotcha. There you go. That's what I'm after. Look at that baby. So that's that big chunk of bone we've been trying to get out. That joint looks pretty clear now, which is great. I'm hoping That makes his joint feel better, and in the long term, helps him with his arthritis too. All right, guys, we're done. The surgery was challenging in parts because particularly on that right side, that bone fragment was quite big. So hopefully we've removed those irritating loose fragments from Charlie's joint, so he can now run around the park and do all the things that young dogs like to do.
Charlie will need to spend the next few days at Sash recovering.
He's a good boy.
Sweetheart. Hi. Hey, you're a good girl. How you doing? How you going? Hey?
Frankie has now woken up after the marathon surgery earlier today on her back.
Well, you feel better? You're talking a lot. Hey? I've got a visitor for you. Hey? Want to come see who's here?
Owner Sean is desperate to see how his precious little girl is recovering.
Hey, you want to sit down? Hi.
Hey.
Look who's here.
Hey, little cow.
Hey.
No.
I'm just a bit sleepy on her pain relief. You're talking to Daddy. Hey, what you saying?
Oh. Don't usually hear those sorts of noises, do we? Hey?
It's only been 12 hours and Frankie is already up and about after major spinal surgery. It always amazes me how resilient animals like this are. She wants to get better and she's going to do everything she can to do just that.
So this is a padded sling. I pop that under her belly. So she wants to walk, which is great. But I'm not going to let her go to full steam yet because we want to make sure she takes it slow. Frankie, come to Dad.
Thank you.
Come on, honey. So that's a really great sign. I mean, it is early days and we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So we're just going to take it one day at a time.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right, sweetheart. I know you don't want to, but I'm going to take you back to bed. Okay?
Thank you.
You say bye to Daddy and you see him later.
You'll be okay. Okay? Come see you tomorrow.
Come on with me. Girl. Stop talking.
All right, Charlie, how are we going? Hello, mate.
At Sash, Chocolate Labrador Charlie is making amazing progress after surgery on both his elbows.
Let's have a look at you. How are those legs? All right? Bit of a look here. Stitches look good.
Dr. Steve Fernside is giving the pup one last check over before it's home time.
All right, Charlie. How about we give you a test run? Come on, mate. Let's have a look at you. Come on. Good boy. Good boy, come on, and back again. So, big day's come for Charlie. He's ready to go home. His elbows look good. He's got good movement in them. They seem comfortable. So we're always worried when we operate on both sides that they can be pretty sore for a few days, but Charlie seems to have bounced back really well, so I'm very pleased. You all right? Ready to go? I reckon Harry's going to be pleased to see you. What do you reckon?
Out in reception, Charlie's family can't wait to see him.
At home, it's been really, really quiet. So Harry's struggled for the last couple of days.
I miss Charlie.
You do, don't you? Really missed him. Best mate.
Charlie will be very excited.
Good boy. Pulling like a steam train, mate.
Is he coming? Can you see him? Charlie!
Whoa!
Hello, beautiful. Hello, gorgeous.
I think someone's happy to see you, Harry. What do you reckon?
Hello, gorgeous.
There you go, Charlie.
How have you been?
Sit down.
Look at your legs.
What is it?
So, Harry, now, Charlie told me that he was a bit worried because he's thought that people might laugh at him with his funny haircut. So can you look after him nicely? And be nice to him so that nobody laughs at him, because he was a bit worried about his haircut. All right? But all his hair will grow back and then you won't know.
I missed you, Charlie.
Charlie's Harry's first dog, so it's lovely to reunite them and help him out, you know, helping his old mate out and getting him back so that they can run around the park and do all the things that kids and dogs love to do. So it's very important to get that bond back and working together again. You give us a call if you've got any worries.
Yeah.
I think he should be pretty well back to his normal self. So your biggest challenge will be keeping him quiet.
He looks really happy and really good considering everything he's gone through. I think Harry's going to be a lot more settled now. Now he's got his buddy back.
Come on, Mum.
Thanks, Harry. Ready? Should we go? Let's go. You ready? Harry, quick. Charlie's going to run away without us.
And a few days later, it's also time for spinal patient Frankie to go home.
Hi! It's your big day. Hello. Oh my goodness. Look at you. Hey, look at you.
Owner Sean is eager to see his little girl.
No doubt she'll be wanting to jump off 6-foot tall buildings as soon as we get home, and it's just a matter of making sure that we look after her as best we can.
Look who's there.
Hey, little cow. Hello. Hello. How's she going?
Looks pretty good, doesn't she?
Yeah.
You got to see her walk. Yeah, she's got her spirit back.
Yeah. Hey.
That's for sure.
Hey.
Frankie, let's show Dad what you can do. You ready? Slowly. Slowly, slowly. Slowly, slowly.
Frankie. Frankie's just as pumped as what she usually is when she sees us. The tail's going 1 million miles an hour. She looked great. She's really good. Ready to go home, Frank? Yeah? I reckon the tail says yes.
So she talks with the tail, that's for sure.
Cow on there, little cow.
Well, we'll miss you. We'll miss you around here. You're full of personality, that's for sure. You call us if you need anything.
Excellent.
Okay?
Thanks for your help, Lisa.
No problem.
Come on, Cow.
Frankie's a really lucky dog, but I think a big part of it is that Sean's such a great owner. I think the combination of the two of them makes Frankie destined to recover.
Hey, good cow.
I arrived at mealtime.
Hi, Dr. Chris.
How are you?
definitely have. Welcome back. Well, thank you. How are you?
Look at her.
A few weeks later, Chris has returned to the Manly Sea Life Sanctuary to check up on Fluky.
She's looking much, much better. She's sorted out all the buoyancy issues, so she's swimming very well.
And also, those barnacles are gone.
Yeah, the fresh water bath has taken care of those, and that's made her more active and way more healthy.
The hawksbill turtle was brought to the Bondi Clinic after being found suffering from floater syndrome and with a nasty swelling of the neck.
This ballooning out of her skin here, that's not something you normally see. So whether she's underweight and the skin's then become loose and doubled up around her neck.
So we've identified what our issue was. It comes down to something very small like that.
What is that?
So this is a little piece of latex or rubber. It's almost like part of a balloon.
Yeah.
So this was embedded in the top of Fluke's neck.
Where'd she get that swelling?
Exactly.
Wow. It doesn't seem like much, but when that little piece of rubber lodged in the skin folds around Fluky's neck, it caused a lot of swelling, and that swelling meant that she couldn't eat, and she found it hard to breathe. Every day would have been a struggle.
And
It just shows you how tough it is for these guys out there.
Most definitely, and these types of things in the ocean are a huge risk to all of our marine life.
Obviously, there's one place that this piece of rubber comes from, and it's from us. It's from our waste. And it's just been a one-way trip for Fluky. to being quite sick and quite unwell.
Fluky's recovery still has a long way to go. She needs to regain her condition to have any hope of being released back into the wild.
Well, look, keep up the great work.
Thank you, Dr. Chris. Thank you for visiting us again.
No worries, Fluky. I'll see you soon, girl.
Come on, sweetheart. Come on. Oh. Come on, cheeky. He's fast. Great. So for the shortest person in the room, he's picked the highest spot. Come on.
At Sash, Lisa's next patient isn't too keen on a visit to the vet.
Hey, you're a cheeky little one. You're a very cheeky little one. Cassie from reception has brought out a stray budgie that was found by a member of the public. The first thing I have to do is check him out. I've got to make sure that he's not injured, and if he's all okay, then we've got to focus on finding his owner. Hey, buddy. Ooh. Come on. Oh, he's pretty tame. As soon as we open the box, this little budgie starts flying around the room, and he goes from picture frame to blinds to my head. We cannot catch this budgie no matter how hard we're trying. Good boy. All right, Cassie, you're the bird whisperer. Come on. Okay, right. Luckily, Cassie has the magic touch. She's caught the budgie, and I can finally examine him. Just looking for any wounds or anything around. And he feels like he's in really good condition. Ouch! Hey, stop. Ouch! I finally managed to give him a full checkup, and with his ability to fly and bite my hand, his energy levels, I think that this little guy is just fine. No. He's nothing found. Okay. All right, buddy. A busy vet hospital is no place for a little guy like this to be. So luckily, Cassie has decided to take him home. She's got a few other birds that she'll keep him separate from, but she's experienced and hopefully she'll be able to track the owners down. Hey, sweetheart, here's your new home. Hey, might be happier to go in here. Whoa, straight in. Good. Hey, mister. You're a bit of a handful. I'm exhausted. Next time someone brings me a stray, I think I'll have a cup of coffee first. And this is just the start of the day. Yes.
And 4 months later, Chris is in Coffs Harbour to see a very special patient.
Hello, guys. How are you? G'day, Marina. Did you ever think this day would come?
I did have my doubts initially. She was in quite a bad way when you first brought her to us.
Fluky would have to be one of the most extraordinary patients I've ever had the pleasure of treating. She was found floating off the coast of Sydney, lost and alone, and really with no chance of survival. She was rescued by some fishermen who brought her into shore, and from there Tim Faulkner brought her to me, and then after that she's been cared for by Manly Sea Life. Hey, Fluky. Hey? This is a day that we almost didn't dream would ever happen. When she first came into me all those months ago, she was in terrible shape, desperately underweight, with infections all over her body and with a piece of rubber wrapped around her neck.
All her wounds are closed over, she's gained quite a nice weight, and she's passed all of her pre-release checks. She's as good as new now, so it's all up to her. The team at Manly Sea Life Sanctuary are very, very, very happy to be able to release Fluky back home, where we hope that she will flourish and survive and grow into an adult that can then reproduce and do her bit for the species.
I'm sure she's got salt air in her nostrils.
I think so too.
Raring to go.
I think so.
So, should we do it?
Let's do it.
We've chosen Coffs Harbour for a couple of reasons. First of all, the conditions are perfect. The water temperature is ideal at 25 degrees and the currents are really favourable. There's no reason why, once we get Fluky into that water, she won't take off and hopefully go back to what should be a long and happy life out there in the wild.
Let's go.
We get you home to see the family for dinner. You're a bit late. Come on, girl. a while since you saw the big blue. And try to hold it for you, Emma.
I'm trying. Okay, let's go.
Go, guys.
Good luck, Luke.
Sometimes turtles will hang around, they'll bob their head up, they'll try to get their bearings. For Fluky, there's none of that.
Good luck. Yeah.
Shadow, go.
Beautiful. Straight away under the wave.
Like a rocket. That is awesome.
Good result.
Incredible work.
Incredible.
That speed.
Amazing. She was ready to go.
Up until this point, Marina's really tried to put on quite a brave face, but seeing her girl disappear into the waves like that, all of a sudden, it's too much.
Giving her back to her home, to where she belongs.
Yeah.
And there's no greater gift than being able to do that, especially considering how sick she was.
Yeah.
So
Well
fantastic.
Done, well done.
Oh, team effort.
Hi, I'm Dr. Danny Dusek from Bondi Vet. If you love our show and want to see more, plus some amazing content about pets and how to care for them, hit the subscribe button. Click that little notification bell and we'll see you on our next video.